Good morning, Nick Markey here, physical therapist and online fitness coach. Going on my morning walk. The birds are out singing. It's a beautiful day. Slightly chilly, actually. But here's a walking companion, Snickers. Good girl. So today I want to do a quick video on, are you too emotional with food? Obviously, food has a big role in our culture and society, for good reason, right? It's kind of the universal goodwill, right? For pretty much all cultures, right? You invite somebody over to your house and you eat, and they provide you sustenance, that kind of thing. So that's all great. But unfortunately, sometimes people will have issues with food, and part of that could be things that may have happened in their past. It could be just triggers or coping mechanism. And then kind of the way we refer to things like, bad foods, good foods, clean eating, all that kind of thing. Hey, guy. Cheat meals. We kind of put this stuff on a pedestal. Now, don't get me wrong. There might be foods that you don't do well with or around. And, sometimes one of the best answers is just to not have it in the house or something, right? Not have it around you, just because that particular food will kind of set you off and you'll just, eat a little bit too much of it. But in terms of just thinking of food as bad, or the opposite of clean eating, I guess, dirty eating, I think it just sets too much emotion along with this stuff. So what can be helpful with that, though, is if you take a step back and just try to look at it objectively as possible. So for instance, let's say you have 300 calories of ice cream, right? Oftentimes that'll be considered a bad food, right? We put it on a pedestal, it's bad food, and that oftentimes leads people to want to crave it and potentially binge eat on it. And then you have 300 calories of broccoli, right? That's a clean food, non-processed, blah, 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 right? 300 calories of broccoli would be a lot of broccoli too. Now, don't get me wrong. You should be, for health purposes, eating a decent amount of fruit and vegetables. Something like 6 to 10 servings is the recommended range of fruit and vegetables total per day. But you also may enjoy ice cream. And at the end of the day, if the goal is weight loss, and barring you having some sort of medical condition like diabetes or something, where you do kind of have to watch your sugar intake all in one sitting, that 300 calories of ice cream can still fit in your diet. It's not bad, it's just a thing. And again, the more we tend to put emotion on it, the harder it's going to be to, I guess, balance it in just your life, right? The more we think of something as bad, or I need to avoid it, like carbs, which that 300 calories of broccoli is carbs, and there's some protein in there too. The more we kind of attach all these labels to it, these emotions to them, then the more likely it's going to be, the harder it's going to be to, fight, maybe not the best word, but to stave off those cravings. Okay. So, ways to help with that, for the objectivity part, being as objective as possible when you're, living in your own skin. It's not, you can't truly be completely objective, but you could try to do your best to work at that. So, one of the best things you can do would be to just track it, right? Take a FitnessPal or whatever, and just track the calories. Again, the most accurate way would be to actually weigh it, so you have exact, or as close to exact as you can get in terms of the calories and stuff. And it just has stats, it just is. It's just a thing. The ice cream, half a cup is, I'm just throwing a number out there, 300 calories, so it's not anything beyond that, right? It's just, probably mostly sugar and a bit of fat, not much protein. But if it's something that you enjoy and you want it, and it's worth the cost, that's where that's the words I use with my clients, is it worth the cost, right? So is that 300 calories of ice cream worth the cost of it? That cost, the 300 calories. And if it is, then have it. If not, then you don't, right? It's just a kind of a simple, and again, it's not always that easy, because we can have, kind of tough mental attachments to certain things, or, history with certain things, based on what we've gone through. But the more objective I can be about it, the better I can make that choice, with what seems like rational thought. So, another way to help would be to obviously, you hire a coach or something that, helps you reframe what these things are, reframe the experience, right? And, as a physical therapist, I do the same thing with when someone's dealing with pain. So there's a lot of myths, and this deserves its own talk, probably several, about pain, but reframing the experience for somebody is oftentimes where you're going to get the most value out of a professional. So, in short, you want to work on, if you're having, issues with your nutrition or diet, and you want to work on that, then, it got really windy, so I hope you can actually hear me, and you actually want to work on that, then you want to start with being as objective as possible, and like I said, the best ways to do that is just start recording and monitoring things as they are, right? So the volume of food does matter, right? 300 calories of broccoli will probably fill you way, I don't know if you knew you'd be able to get 300 calories of broccoli in one sitting. Obviously it's going to be far more filling than 300 calories of ice cream. But if the ice cream is something that you want, and you just kind of, it's worth the cost to you, then it's okay to eat it. It's not bad. It's just food. So the less emotion we can approach these decisions with, and you can probably apply that logic to just about everything. The less emotion you could apply to a situation. I mean, you can't completely remove it because it's a part of you. It's innate. But the better we can be about kind of looking at it from a broader perspective, excuse me, and less emotional, the most likely the better decision you're going to make. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So I hope that was helpful for somebody, and I hope you have a great, terrific Tuesday. Peace.